Hello, my name is Andrea, and welcome to the accounting portion of our course today, looking at InventoryLab. So let's go ahead and look at our inventory. So we're going to go to inventory. We can either do FBA or merchant. Everything that I do can be applied to either or in this course. All right, so these are our items. We can go ahead and actually look at our archived items too, because those have more sales. Everything I do on this page can also be done on the listed page. So let's go ahead and click this toggle. And we can sort it by how many replenishments they actually have. So let's go ahead and pick one with a lot of replenishments. All right, so here is the MSKU up here. And we can see the title, the ASIN, all that good stuff. But the most important part, really the meat of it, is right down here, the replenishments. So you can see that this is the initial purchase right here. This line includes the cost per unit, the supplier, the purchase date, the purchase quantity, and the remaining quantity. Now, if I click this I under the remaining quantity, it's going to let me know exactly which orders are mapped to this line. So I click the I. And we see here, these order IDs and the quantities are associated with this line. So if I click on this order ID, it will have the exact same supplier, cost information, all that good stuff attached to it. Here we go. So it has all that information. If I want to find an order and see which line it is associated with, I can just click Find Order down here and type in that order ID, and it will highlight the line that it's in. Now, if I scroll down here all the way to the bottom, I can see exactly which replenishment line is active. So it's letting me know that these ones right here are depleted, but it's going to go in order of first in, first out, and that is all based on this, the purchase date right here. So that helps it keep so your inventory does not, get obsolete, so it doesn't reach obsolescence, and you don't, goes in order that you actually added it to your inventory. So you can see that this one is active right now. So any orders that come from here on out will be the next two orders, or it looks like the next two quantity right here. This will be taken out of this line. So this is the active line, next to quantity. If we sell 3, it's going to take 2 out of this one and then 1 out of the next one. And again, if we click this I, we can see all of the orders that are associated with it, as well as return orders and cash reimbursements. All right, next we're going to move on to the actual accounting tab. So by going here to accounting, I can see my FBA sales, merchant sales, refunds, reimbursements, other income, inbound shipping, mileage, other expenses, and disposition management. Let's go ahead and take a look at that disposition management page. So the disposition management page is where you can address any sort of FBA removals, liquidations, and disposals, or MFN returns. Now this is going to let us know if we can resell this item again. Maybe it got removed for certain reasons, but we get it back in a condition where we're like, hey, I can sell this again. Now, whether or not I'm going to sell this on Amazon or a different platform, I'm still going to want to mark this as sellable, because if I don't, it will duplicate that cost. So we see right here, right now the buy cost adjustment is $0 because it is sellable, and we don't want to duplicate that, so when we sell it again. If I change it to unsellable though, it's going to have me adjust my amount. We see the buy cost is now negative, and that's because it is a loss to us. If we'd like to though, we can always just click Use Amazon Disposition if we agree with their disposition. If we don't agree with Amazon's disposition, we find that a lot of our stuff comes in a certain, sellable or unsellable. We can click this gear right here, and it's going to take me to my settings. And I can actually set up disposition management defaults. So I have FBA removals. I can either just have them all come in as marked as unsellable, sellable, or I can pick the Amazon default if I tend to agree with their disposition. Same with MFM returns. We can either do unsellable or sellable. It won't have that Amazon disposition because Amazon doesn't receive MFN items. So let's go ahead and close this. And if we'd like to, we can see the actual removal ID by clicking this here. All right, next let's move on to our other expenses. So back up to the accounting tab, you can see other expenses down here. Now this is where I'm going to want to track things that, Amazon doesn't automatically track for me that show up on my profit and loss report. So this is where I'm going to want to add things like maybe contractor training, maybe my employee salary, whatever I pay out, as well as, maybe some conferences, anything, boxes. You can add so much to this page, and then it really helps you get your profit and loss to the penny. Let's go ahead. You can either import other expenses. Now, when you do import other expenses, it is import only. You can't overwrite existing entries or delete them. So just something to keep in mind if you are importing those other expenses. Let's go ahead and click this add button right here. And this is where we can add, a category. Maybe let's do envelopes. You can have a starting date for the other expense as well. So you can either do, you can also update it retroactively. So if we go back, maybe even to like 2023, we can add this right here. We add the amount of the other expense. So maybe this costs $18.99. Description, we can just do like an invoice number. You can do a bunch of other things. So description is really up to your discretion. And then we can choose to have it repeat. So we can either do never, weekly, monthly, or yearly. Let's say that we purchase these every month, these envelopes. So you can either do it a day of the month or a day of the week when you choose monthly. And you can have it repeat every X amount of months. So let's maybe do it every 2 months. And you can do it for a day in the month too. So let's just pick the 20th, every 20th. Then you set it to repeat. You can either have it end on a specific date, or you can have it repeat end on a specific date or after a set number of times, or never if you just want to keep accruing those. Let's pick a certain date. All right, so we're going to go ahead and create this other expense, and now it's going to show up on our profit and loss report on the 20th of the month every 2 months. Next, we're going to take a look at other income. This is good if you want to account for maybe some eBay sales or maybe some Walmart sales, and you want it to show up on your profit and loss report in InventoryLab. This is where you're going to want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and click add. Another thing, you can also import them. Again, add only. You can't overwrite existing ones. Let's go ahead and click add. This is where you can add our category. So maybe it's an Etsy sale. You can also type a new one if we'd like to. You can put our name here. So maybe it's the order ID. Then we can put in the date of the actual income that we received, the amount that we received, and then a description, which can be any sort of description. Maybe it's the MSKU or any other identifier for the order. And once we save, it's going to show up now on our profit and loss report as a net positive. So now that we have all these, expenses and income entered, how does it actually show up and how can we view it for our business? Well, if we go to reports and then profit and loss right here, we'll be able to see it all planned out. Now this is a test account, so I am going to view this. You can change your view up here. So we can change it to, let's change it to yearly. You can also do weekly, monthly, quarterly, or a custom range too. So let's go ahead and look at 2022 when we had some sales, and then we just click view. Now we do have the option up here as well at this toggle to either include estimated or reconciled only. So if we want to see our actual profit versus our projected profit, that's what we're going to want to toggle up here. So this is projected, and then reconciled only is the other option. Now you can see the date up here when it was last reconciled, when we received a settlement report from Amazon. That happens about once every 2 weeks. So that's about how often your numbers will reconcile. Now we can see everything here is broken up by month. That's because we did the annual view. So you can see our total number of sales. We have refunds, we have reimbursement, MFN shipping credit, all this good stuff here. Now down here we actually have other income, and that's where our our envelopes would show up. But this is 2022, it's a different year, so it's not going to be on here. But so these are all of this is our income. We can collapse that if we want to. And then we can look at our expenses down here. So this is all going to be red. We can see, our cost of goods sold. That's what we enter while we list. Or it transfers over directly from that page that we had all of our buy costs and supplier information entered. Then we have our Amazon referral fee. Some of these do come directly from Amazon, but the ones that we actually added, like maybe this box cost down here, boxes, that is actually something that we added manually. So it's going to take that out of our profit and add it as a loss. And then down here we have just some other categories which are for information purposes only. Well, that's it for accounting with InventoryLab. I hope you learned a lot, especially how to keep that profit and loss report as accurate as possible, down to the penny. My name again is Andrea. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you again soon.